My name is Emery Collins, and this is Homework 5, Smart Doorbell for Remote Sensing. To begin, we load in all of our packages that we need to complete the Smart Doorbell algorithm, and then we define a mask image function, which essentially masks, resizes, grayscales, and blurs the image, even though it's just called mask image. We selected 4 points for our select ROI to give us the values for our array in order to create the mask that we need. I didn't need anything crazy for my mask. It's just a square, if you follow the mouse, about this big, maybe even smaller, maybe like this. And it's rectangular. So it's pretty straightforward. Then we apply that mask to our image. We resize it with IMUtils. We convert to grayscale, and then we blur it. The kernel size I used was 1111. There's really no real thought behind it. It's what I started with, and it hasn't given me any issues so far, so I've stuck with it. We then define a counter variable so that we can see how many times we have gone through this while loop, which pretty much goes indefinitely until it's closed manually at least. Then we print that, how many times it's gone through, and the time. And then we go ahead and capture our first image, and then we write it and save it to the OS. We delay 1 second after that first capture. That's because my camera takes a little bit longer than a second or two to actually take the image. So it comes out being more like 4 or 5 seconds. And more than that would, I think, give whatever object or person is walking in front of the field of view enough time to get out of it by the time the second image is taken. So we have a 1 second delay there, and then we capture our second image in the same way, and then we go ahead and we use our mask image function on both the first and second images here and here and determine the number of pixels, where we then determine the difference in that number right here with detection diff, and we then compare that to our detection threshold. I used 80,000 because I started with around 30,000 and it was kind of being finicky. But ever since I switched to 80,000, it has picked up on substantial movements between or into the field of view. So if that number, that difference is greater than our threshold, we go ahead and initialize our camera, and then we go ahead and record the video. We do about 10 seconds of recording through 200 cycles, and then we go ahead and write that out to the OS to be viewed later. We clean up the camera for the next cycle, and then we go ahead and create our email. I have a bunch of print statements in here because this actually proved to be kind of finicky for myself. It ended up just being the logging in chunk right here because my security was too high on my burner email. But this is all pretty much the same as what we developed in class. So that'll pretty much do it. And I'll go ahead and run it here. As you can see, we're on the first cycle and the time is shown and it says that we're capturing the first image. Then we go ahead and capture the second image a second or two later because there's that error. And there we are. As we see, there's this big old error, and I don't really know what causes it. I've tried to figure it out, but it pretty much does it every time. And that could be contributing to some of the slow processing because that is a lot of error statements. It doesn't seem to impact the performance of the code much other than maybe just how much time and how accurate those times are. But now we are here on what looks to be loop 4. And after this loop, I'll go ahead and walk in front of the camera. And we should see a message pop up saying, Smart Doorbell has detected someone. So now we will record a video. Here I am recording the video. It'll go for about 10 seconds and then it'll stop. And now as we see, we're preparing email, logging in, and then says email was sent successfully. I have now gotten out of the frame of view So this should cycle back again. And it did, and worked successfully. Let's quit out of that. And now we can see what video we got here. Here I am. That's me. My Maryland red. But so, yeah, as you can see, that's about 10-second video. And then if we go ahead and check our email, we should have two images. We have this first image, and then we have this second image. As you can see, there is a little bit of time because it didn't catch me really. I guess you can kind of see the corner of my head there. But in this one, I'm fully standing in front, and this one I'm not. So it could probably have been a little bit quicker to pick up on that. But all in all, it successfully recorded the video and emailed the user the first two images. So that is my smart doorbell algorithm.